Many of you over the years, and especially recently, have been asking me to talk more about the ranks of my empire. Now, seeing as the full rank chart has, at the moment, 56 pay grades, this video is going to focus primarily on the ranks of the Imperial High Command, abbreviated to IHC, as seen on the pay grade scale to the left. Now, while that may seem like a lot, keep in mind that any empire that is the size of a galaxy or larger would need a lot of positions to manage it effectively. And the 20 pay grades that we have here on Earth, at least in the military, seems rather small in comparison. Plus, I'd like to think that people live longer than 80 years in my empire, but who knows. But as a meritocracy, it'd be possible to advance high up in the ranks. At least I hope. Now, before starting, we'll have to cover the basics of the rank insignia. First up are the black tiles. The black tiles indicate one's level of authority within the empire, with 1 being an officer rank, 2 being a command rank, going all the way up to 6 tiles being the highest level of authority you can reach in the empire. I chose black due to the idea that each decision you make potentially puts lives at risk, to serve as a reminder that your decisions hold a lot of weight the more authority you hold. Now, to differentiate those who have the same number of black tiles, i.e. the same level of quote-unquote authority, you want all your black tiles in the top row and then to the left when viewed by someone else. You will see these best in the high command ranks when you have everyone having 6 black tiles, which we'll get to soon. Now, if you've been looking at your screen and not just listening to this for background noise, you will have noticed that each branch has a representative color for their specific branch, with the Army being red, Navy being blue, Marines being olive green, the Imperial Throne being purple, the central or federal government being orange, and the regional government being yellow. These are the primary branch colors, and all other colors being secondary to denote specific roles and or ministries. Your branch color will always be on the bottom or to the left, with secondary colors on the top row or to the right. Best examples, once again, are the Imperial High Command ranks, which we'll now get into. Starting with the Imperial military, all ranks are essentially the same, just colored differently, as they function more or less the same way, being the main branch leaders and decision makers. At the bottom of the High Command are those of the staff officers, being Staff General for the Army or Marines, and Staff Admiral for the Navy. There are only ever 27 of all 3 of these ranks, and being a galactic or larger empire, these men and women are highly specialized in their fields of expertise. I won't name every position in this video, but these include the Staff Admiral of the surface fleets, who would directly oversee planetary ships such as those of the Nimitz-class carriers, as it takes a lot of energy to fly a ship that weighed over 100,000 tons, so some sea ships would still be maintained. Another staff position would be the Army Staff General of Army Personnel, basically HR, overseeing the training and standardization of Army personnel. You'll note that their 6 black tiles are all on the bottom, with their primary branch colors being on the top left row with purple to the right. These 27 officers report directly to the 9 chief officers, being that of Chief General or Admiral. Here you will see the 6 black tiles evenly split 3 top and bottom, and to the right hand side with their branch on the bottom row and the purple above. These 36 men and women report directly to the 3 Lord officers, with all 39 comprising the Joint Chiefs of Staff, with the chairman and 2 vice chairmen being one of the Lord General or Admiral on 6-year appointments as Lord General or Admiral, and spend 4 years as vice chair, with 2 years served as the chairman before ultimately retiring. Being the branch leaders, you can see their black tiles are all on the top row. However, you will have noticed that I did skip a rank, and that is that of Grand Admiral or General, possibly my favorite rank insignia that's not the Emperor. And it's no accident that the color layout is the same as those of the Grand Admiral or General in Star Wars. These appointments are special appointments outside of the normal process, where these officers report directly to the monarch and have jurisdiction set out by said monarch, usually command assignments to secure new planets or systems for the Empire, or to highly prioritized assignments such as research too secret to be conducted by the Grand Ministry of Technology. Moving on over to the Imperial Throne, most ranks aren't fully fleshed out, as the Imperial Throne branch would have the most variations, and like with the rest of the branches, I would have to make a separate dedicated video on these. But the 4 defined positions within the Imperial High Command, solely dedicated to the throne itself, start at the bottom with Imperial Advisors. These are similar to what we have in the United States, but there are a couple groups of advisors who all work with a chief advisor when discussing matters with the Emperor. The chief advisors have to be highly experienced enough to be able to discuss things without their juniors in extreme emergencies where everyone isn't able to discuss things together all at once. Above them is the executive chief of staff. This person is basically the executor's personal chief of staff, who is their main assistant, who oversees their appointments and other general duties of their position. Above them is the chief of staff of the Emperor, handling the day-to-day functions of the Imperial Palace while also keeping the Emperor up to date on current events that the monarch should be kept appraised of. Over in the central government, you have the Grand Ministers. There are only ever 10 of them, who all oversee key aspects of the empire. In order of precedence, they are the Grand Minister of the Imperial Military, Finance, Resource Allocation, Security, the Economy, Industry, the Interior, Technology, Welfare, and Diplomacy. If you can tell what I think of diplomacy, you can already tell why this is the way it is. I could go into detail about these, but this video is going to be long enough as it is. Above the Grand Ministers is the Prime Minister, Vizier, and Grand Vizier in that order. Now, these are special positions that you have to be the previous rank before ascending to the next one, i.e., if you're appointed to be the Grand Minister and the Grand Vizier at the time retires, dies, or is otherwise removed from office, then you become the new Vizier, while the previous Vizier becomes the new Grand Vizier. The Grand Vizier serves as the nominal head of government, with the 2 lower ranks being successors who also act as heads of government to aid the Grand Vizier. As this is done to ensure that there's someone capable of filling the vacancy quickly. And the only way to remove these 3 is to have 3 new people selected to replace them, so the positions are never vacant. This is done so as to prevent gridlocking the government, so the Imperial Congress isn't able to impede the wheels of state for whatever political shenanigan reason. Lastly, the regional government. Like the military, you have staff governors who specialize in key aspects of planetary governance, who all report to chief governors. But unlike the military, the position of vice governor is a designated lieutenant of the Lord Lady Governor, who oversees the whole branch. And this operates similar to the Vizier and Grand Vizier, where they take over the regional government should anything happen to the Lord or Lady Governor. The regional government is comprised of local governments such as towns, cities, states, and even planetary governors, but unlike other branches within the executive branch, the people elect their own governors up to a point. And should the people wish to be governed by the central government or the throne instead, they vote on this every 5 to 10 years. But this too would require a video of its own to explain in greater detail. And of course, something you've seen above all the aforementioned ranks is the two members of the Imperial throne proper, that being the heir apparent known as the executor or executrix, and at the very top, the emperor or empress. The emperor needs no explanation. However, the executor is a non-hereditary position, but rather an appointed position, whereupon the death, abdication, or otherwise removal of the emperor, the executor becomes the new emperor. Now, one caveat about this is that originally described in the book series that I'm currently writing, the way the executor operates is once they're appointed by the emperor, the people must then vote to confirm the executor rather than Congress, so as to prevent any political shenanigans. So basically, the executor is confirmed by the people that they wish for them to serve as the new monarch. What kind of campaigning would be done, I don't really know. Again, this isn't fully fleshed out in the book, and I kind of like leaving it ambiguous there. But should the emperor die before then, the executor becomes the new acting emperor, but the people must still confirm by popular vote to confirm them to be the permanent emperor. Basically, only once they get confirmed, should they be acting emperor, then they receive their coronation to show that, yes, they are in fact the emperor. Should they fail to be approved by the people, then the Speaker of the House of Representatives becomes the new emperor. A full Linus' session video could be on the cards if you guys are interested. Something to note that I left for here is the further hierarchy between the branches, as it should be stated that while individuals may have the same pay grade, some are still above others. In times of peace, it goes the imperial throne at the top, followed by the central government, then the regional government, and the military all being equal at the bottom. The best example of this would be the IHC-4 ranks, wherein the emperor directs their chief of staff to relay an order to the Grand Vizier, who then passes it on to the Lord or Lady Governor, who then passes it on to one of the Lord or Lady Generals or Admiral. This wouldn't happen in reality, as the Emperor would simply order the Lord or Lady Admiral to do whatever they wanted, but this is just a hyper explanation. Like if the Emperor was to attend a meeting, but in reality, they would still ask their chief of staff to relay the order. In times of war, however, it goes the imperial throne at the top, but the military is equal below them, with the central government next, with the regional government coming in last. The reason being, in times of peace, the government governs, but in times of galactic war, a system or sector general would need to be able to direct the resources within the territory to aiding the defense of said system or sector. Bureaucracy is thrown out in times of war so as to save as many lives and secure victory quickly. So this was a brief overview of the Imperial High Command ranks of my empire. If you would like to see more in greater detail, let me know down below in the comments. And any other general questions, if there are many repeat questions or a lot of likes on certain questions, I can see going into greater detail and answering those questions in specific branch videos, especially the Imperial throne and regional government. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Is there something wrong with me?
Reinforcements on.
Actually, don't answer that. I'll just say ready for action.
Upgrade in progress.
You've let unidentified.
No! What the fuck? This is my own planet!